Hello and welcome tonight. Barely a month after the Christmas Eve attacks on communities in two councils of Plateau State, which killed over 80 people, gunmen again unleashed terror on another Plateau local government area, killing over 30. Former Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audu Ogbe, and former INEC Chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega, recommend fixing the economy, legalizing state policing, and ending vigilante groups' proliferation as part of measures to end insecurity in the north. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken inaugurates American Corner at Lekki, Lagos, speaks on U.S. Nigeria relations in an exclusive interview with the chairman CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's stock market key performance index breaks past 100,000 points. First time ever as it retains status as world best performing bourse.
On sports news tonight, Tunisia have been eliminated from the Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire following a goalless draw against South Africa.
And from Abuja, immediate past governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, pleads not guilty to the 9-count charge of money laundering filed against him by the EFCC.
And in international news from London, a Russian military transport plane has crashed in the southern Belgorod region bordering Ukraine, with officials saying everyone on board had died.
Plateau State is in the news again, and for the wrong reason, as no fewer than 30 persons, mostly children and women, have lost their lives after assailants attacked Kwahaslalek community in Mangu local government area, leaving properties destroyed. Local sources told Channels Television that the attack occurred on Tuesday night while residents assembled at a compound in the village following the 24-hour curfew imposed on the local government. Two other communities of Kinat and Meirana on the borders of Mangu and Barkinladi local government areas also came under attack the same night. There have also been attacks during which worship centers and markets were burnt. The State Police Command says investigations are ongoing to ascertain the casualty figures and level of destruction. It adds that security personnel and surveillance helicopters have been deployed to the area, while the 24-hour curfew imposed on Mangu local government area by the government remains in force. According to a resident of one of the communities, the attacks are taking a religious tone.
What is happening in Mangu at this particular point in time? The military are the ones sending our people away to allow the militia to burn their houses. At this particular point in time, they have sent every Christian away from a new market, and thereby leaving the Muslims to come and burn their houses. They set the curfew. The curfew is restricted to only people within Mangu, within the Christian domain. But in the Muslim domain, they are free to move and do whatever they wanted to do. And not only that, the military has killed 3 of our young men, in which I know one is before my own church. They killed one yesterday. And I reported to the security. He said that it was a fake soldiers. At first, he said I was lying, until I proved to him beyond a doubt.
In the last 3 months, bandits have carried out 4 separate attacks in about 30 communities, affecting 4 local governments of Plateau State, with over 150 people killed. Mostly affected are women and children, with dozens of homes destroyed by the terrorists. The latest attack in Kwahaslalek village is shocking, coming behind the attacks in Mangu, Barkinladi, as well as Boko's local government areas. Worse still, these coordinated attacks are occurring despite assurances by the military hierarchy that they are dealing with the rising insecurity in Plateau and the North Central. Until recently, Plateau State was ranked among the most peaceful in the country. But the same cannot be said today, as bandits have repeatedly wreaked havoc on several villages in 30 communities across 4 local government areas. This is Bokos and Barkinladi local governments, and on the eve of Christmas in 2023, bandits ravaged the communities, terrorizing residents, destroying homes, and leaving a trail of deaths numbering about 90.
It was raining at that moment, so 2 men came in army uniform, as if they packed for the rain to be over. So after the rain, they left. And later in the night, that was the time people, those armed men, they came and started spraying bullets on them. He was outside, so he ran for his dear life to hide.
The governor of the state, Caleb Mutfwang, was appalled by the incident, as shown in his statewide broadcast.
It is quite grievous to my heart that Plateau today has become the cynosure of the whole nation, and indeed the world, for the wrong reasons. These unprovoked and simultaneous attacks in different villages were clearly premeditated and coordinated. This series of attacks on our people are a clear case of criminality, insurgency, and terrorism, and must be seen and handled in that manner.
Several meetings were held by the security chiefs, even up to the Senate. President Bola Tinubu gave a clear directive for them to apprehend the terrorists, and the military hierarchy promised that something will be done.
I must tell you unequivocally that the military is up to the task on the plateau. What happened was a political conflict wrongly managed that snowballed on Christmas Day, and we are working to address it going forward. There's a role for every other stakeholder to play in resolving this conflict, and so we are ready to work with all these stakeholders to ensure that peace and stability return to Plateau.
Less than a month after this promise, similar attack is recorded in Mangu village of Mangu local government. And today, Kwahaslalek village in the borders of Mangu and Barkin Ladi local government areas. The total death toll from the two attacks is 34. These attacks has led to several people in the affected communities deserting their homes, but it will take a renewed effort and more assurances from the military to match words with action in keeping the people of Plateau State safe and secure. Fix the economy, legalize state policing, and stop the proliferation of vigilante groups. These are some of the recommendations made by the former Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audu Ogbe, and the former Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega, as part of efforts to end the security challenges in the northern part of the country. They preferred solutions at a roundtable organized by the Coalition of Northern Groups in Abuja.
The Sultan of Sokoto, the former military head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, as well as the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega, are some of the dignitaries attending this conference in Abuja on how to address insecurity in northern Nigeria. Organized by the Coalition of Northern Groups, the conference hopes to mobilize human resources to find solutions to the insecurity in the northern region.
We aim to foster collaboration, cooperation, and synergy, develop actionable strategies, and engage individuals and communities, as well as various stakeholders to take ownership of the security efforts in the region.
It's a frank conversation as speakers highlight the issues at the heart of the matter and made some recommendations.
This chaos is caused by three things. One, the economy. Two, the economy. And three, the economy. There are no rural industries. So there are no jobs. So our children graduate, hang around the village for a while, and they have to go in frustration. They go into crime, into the forest, into kidnapping.
Rather than continue to promote the phenomenon of vigilantes in our communities, perhaps we may as well go back and get the Constitution appropriately amended so that we have formal institutions of state policing.
Beyond the talks, the concern among stakeholders here is the implementation of the recommendations.
A lot has been discussed and said about insecurity. There are volumes of literature that abound in this country. So I hope that at the end of this roundtable, we will implement the recommendations.
We Nigerians in particular do not lack proposals issues, knowledge of how and where we should bring solutions to our problems. What we lack is implementation. And I told the committee that came, we must find a way of implementing. Let this not be another talk shop.
Insecurity occasioned by terrorism, banditry and kidnappings have devastated many communities in northern Nigeria, and the consensus at these conferences is that there is an urgent need to synergize and end the problem once and for all.
Away from security matters, the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has praised American-Nigerian relations as stronger thanks to the establishment of the American Corner across the country. Mr. Blinken made the comment as he commissioned the 25th American Corner in Nigeria, hosted by 21st Century Technologies in Lekki, Lagos. He says Nigeria holds the highest number of American Corners in the world, providing Nigerians the opportunity to study in the U.S. and enhance relations, among other benefits. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
We've set up another X for you.
This is Mr. Blinken's second visit to Nigeria in 10 months, and the Secretary of State appears fascinated by the country's innovative technological landscape, as expressed when he met with 3 creators upon his arrival in Lagos.
This is commercialized? It's actually up and running? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mr. Blinken then proceeds to a small ceremony commemorating the commissioning of the American Center in Lekki, hosted by 21st Century Technologies, an ecosystem technology group of companies established 25 years ago. He reiterated the strengthening of U.S. Nigeria partnerships and the importance of Nigeria's presence in Africa and the world.
And when we're thinking about Africa, Nigeria has to be front and center. The largest country, the largest economy, the largest democracy. It is a natural partner for the United States. And as we're looking at what we're doing together, trying to address the climate crisis that's affecting all of us in different ways, developing artificial intelligence for good, accelerating inclusive economic growth, all of that is strengthened powerfully by one thing, and that is the tens of thousands of Americans who are here in Nigeria, working, studying, coming together with Nigerians around joint ventures, and the more than 500,000 Nigerian Americans who are such a powerful part of our own community.
He also said the American Corner would reinforce strong partnerships between the two countries.
Nigeria has more American spaces than any other African country. 24 locations in 21 cities, 4,400 programs, reaching 100,000 Nigerians every year, and now number 25. We know that there are so many other Nigerians, like each and every one of you, who want to make connections, who want to acquire skills, who may want to spend time in the United States, studying, working, engaging with people. And there are many ways to do that, but these American spaces are a big part of it.
The U.S. Secretary of State now proceeds to Angola, the last leg of his Africa tour. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, we have more from the U.S. Secretary of State. This time, he bears his mind on Nigeria-U.S. relations in an exclusive interview with the Chairman CEO Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Barely a month after the Christmas Eve attacks on communities in 2 councils of Plateau State, which killed over 80 people, gunmen again unleashed terror on another Plateau local government area, killing over 30. Former Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audu Ogbe, and former INEC Chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega, recommend fixing the economy, legalizing state policing, and ending vigilante groups' proliferation as part of measures to end insecurity in the north. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken inaugurates American Corner at Lekki, Lagos, speaks on Nigeria relations in a chat with the chairman, CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo. and a Russian military transport plane has crashed in the southern Belgorod region bordering Ukraine, with officials saying everyone on board had died. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, had more to say on Nigeria-U.S. relations. He had a chat with the chairman, CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo. Now, the U.S. top diplomat started by debunking the impression that President Joe Biden not visiting Nigeria nor meeting with President Bola Tinubu is indicative of Nigeria not being on the priority of the U.S. government.
I think it's just the opposite. As you mentioned, of course, the president very much wants to come to Africa. Beyond that, though, as you mentioned, I think we've had 17 cabinet level or department level officials come since the Africa Leaders Summit. And one of the things President Biden was so intent on is we had 3 great days in Washington with the Africa Leaders Summit. But he wants to make sure that the 362 days that follow those 3 days to make up the year, we're focused and engaged here. And there's a simple reason for it. For the United States, we see Africa as a continent that's shaped our past, it is shaping our present, and it will for sure shape our future. When we have 1 in 4 people on this planet soon to be coming from Africa, and when we have with Nigeria in particular, the continent's largest country, its largest economy, its largest democracy, there's a natural partnership. That's why I'm back to follow up on the commitments that were made at the Africa Leaders Summit by the president and to strengthen and deepen the partnership that we already have.
How does the State Department plan to strengthen diplomatic relations with Nigeria in the context of increasing global competition for influence in Africa?
You know, look, first there are tremendous needs and opportunities that no one country is going to be able to meet by itself. We make very significant investments, often, for example, through the United Nations as well as through other programs, in health security, the PEPFAR program, which has been one of the greatest things that we've done, and it's had a big impact here in Nigeria. For food security, working on combating climate change, given the impacts that it has. We're investing in infrastructure, and we see that, for example, in something the president has established, the Libido corridor that will join up Zambia, the DRC, and Angola in creating physical and digital infrastructure. But here's the biggest difference maker, I think. The United States also, and maybe uniquely, invests in knowledge, in transferring knowledge, in sharing techniques, in sharing understanding, so that countries that we're partnered with can then do it themselves and aren't dependent or reliant on us or anyone else. So it's that investment in knowledge that I think is one of the most powerful things we do. Here in Lagos, we just opened our 25th American Corner in Nigeria, the most of any country in Africa. And this is a place where people can come not only to connect to the United States, but also to learn, to develop skills, whether it's English language skills or technology skills, to build their knowledge.
So this is laudable investments in products for Africa. But did the U.S. wait to see China and Russia, taking the bull by the horns and coming in first before it served as a wake-up call?
Look, this is not about, for us, it's not about China, Russia, or any other country. It really is about the partnerships that we see as offering tremendous opportunity, not just for our African partners, but for us. Look, the reality is none of the problems that we're trying to solve for the American people can we solve alone. None of the challenges that we have to face for the American people can we effectively meet alone. We need to be doing this in partnership. I saw just here in Lagos some young Nigerian entrepreneurs, innovators, who are finding answers to problems that we also have in the United States. The more you're able to connect people together in that way, the better it's going to be for all of us. So we're not engaged here because of any other country. We're engaged here because of the opportunity that we see to strengthen partnerships and to actually meet our common challenges. And it's a natural for us, in part because of history. But again, when we think of the future, what we think and what we see and what we feel is Africa. And that's why President Biden has made sure that we're focused, even with everything else going on in the world.
A shift in gear now. Let's ask you to speak to us about U.S. Nigeria security collaborations, especially in combating terrorism and regional stability, which are affecting economic and development efforts in Nigeria.
I think the challenge there is acute, and we can't minimize it, but we're also determined to proceed in partnership with Nigeria in meeting that challenge. Now, it has to be, and I believe it is, a comprehensive approach. Of course, there's the hard security part of this, and so things that we're doing in terms of building capacity in Nigeria among the security forces, the military, equipment, technology, intelligence, information sharing, all of those kinds of things are very important. But also important is taking a comprehensive approach if you're really going to be effective, for example, in dealing with extremism or terrorism. The relationship between security forces and the communities that they're supposed to be protecting is critically important. Making sure that the forces are there looking out for the people, not enabling or doing bad things to the people. That's hugely important. Making sure that we're also looking at some of the root causes that may be pushing people or driving people to take up crime or to engage in extremism or terrorism. That's very important too. And that means finding ways to create more opportunity for people throughout the country so that they can have and believe in a future, that they can put bread on the table for their families. Because if you can't do that, if you can't put bread on the table for your kids, you'll probably be willing to do anything in order to accomplish it. It's a long way of saying we have to have, and we do have, a comprehensive approach to this in partnership with the government and in partnership with local communities as well. But the more Nigeria succeeds in developing its economy, pursuing innovation, connecting people, and meeting some of the very serious challenges when it comes to health, when it comes to climate, when it comes to energy, when it comes to food security, those ultimately are the best ways to create the conditions in which extremism, criminality, terrorism doesn't grow.
Let's talk about trade and development issues. First, let's turn our searchlight on energy and environmental policies. Given Nigeria's status as a major oil supplier to the U.S., how is the U.S. engaging with Nigeria on energy diversification and climate change mitigation?
Look, we feel a real responsibility to be a strong partner on the transition to a renewable-based energy economy, because historically we developed in such a way that we did things in our own development that we're now asking other countries not to do because of the impact on the environment. So we have a responsibility to help lead the way. That goes to some of the financing that we're putting into enabling countries to build greater resilience and to adapt. It comes with the technology and innovation that we help develop and we're sharing to make sure that countries can take advantage of technology to move away from fossil fuels. It also comes with an understanding that this is a transition. It won't happen overnight, but there has to be a clear plan and clear support from us and for other countries that have developed their economies in previous years to make sure that we're doing this together. That's the nature of what we're trying to do with Nigeria.
Two more quick questions, because I know you've got to go. You spoke about the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Yes.
Could you expatiate on that for us?
Well, look, one of the things, I think there are a couple of things that are very important. Of course, we want to see trade and investment strengthen between the United States and Africa. And actually, just since the Africa Leaders Summit, we've seen a significant jump in two-way trade and investment, a 60% increase just in that period of time. And partly that goes to the work our own government is doing with the tools that we have to support our private sector in doing more within in Africa. At the same time, there are things that countries here can do to create the strongest possible investment environment. But there's another aspect to this. I think within Africa itself, making sure that the environment exists, and this is what the free trade area in Africa itself is doing, so that African countries are trading with and investing in each other. You have a very unusual situation historically, where up until now, African countries have done more trade and had more investment outside of Africa than they have within Africa. That should and it is changing, because that's really missing tremendous opportunities. But it also requires connecting countries in Africa. That's why we're also taking a regional approach. I mentioned the Libido corridor before, that will physically as well as digitally join Zambia, the DRC, and Angola. That connectivity is the way you get more trade and investment flowing among Africans and within Africa, as well as maximizing opportunities to bring trade and investment from other countries to Africa.
Finally, Mr. Secretary, what will be your greatest takeaway yet from your trip to Nigeria?
Oh, look, it's in a way the same takeaway I've had on multiple trips here. It's the vibrancy, the energy, the innovativeness of this young population. And that's why when I say for us, Africa is the future, you can see the future is now. It's actually happening right now. And it's especially happening with young people here. Some of the innovators that I met today here in Lagos, who, as I said, are finding creative solutions to problems that are shared around the world. That's what's so incredibly exciting about the partnerships that we're building in Africa. We can see a future where African solutions, African voices are critical and central to everything that's going on around the world. We want to be part of that.
Very well. Secretary Lincoln, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and best wishes on your onward trip.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great to be with you.
My pleasure.
That was the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaking on U.S. Nigeria relations in a chat with the chairman and CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo. Still ahead on the news at 10, former Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano pleads not guilty to the 9-count charge of money laundering preferred against him by the EFCC. Plus, Nigeria's stock market key performance index breaks past 100,000 points. First time ever as it retains status as world best performing bourse. That's on Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. Let's now head to the nation's capital, where Malkwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Malkwe.
Hello, Ayo. Well, we're starting at the court, where the immediate past governor of Anambra State, Mr. Willie Obiano, has pleaded not guilty to the 9-count charge of money laundering preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Former Governor Obiano took his plea after he was arraigned before Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court, Abuja, over the alleged money laundering of 4 billion naira. Meanwhile, counsel for the prosecution, Mr. Silvanus Takir, says he has up to 15 witnesses lined up to testify against the former governor. Our judiciary correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, reports.
The immediate past governor of Anambra State, Mr. Willie Obiano, is at the Federal High Court, Abuja, for his arraignment by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on allegations of money laundering to the tune of 4 billion naira. Mr. Obiano is accused of moving the amount from security votes into different accounts between March 2014 and March 2022. Some of the charges include the transfer of the sum of 158,800,000 from the Anambra State Security Vote account into an account that has no link to the state government between 7th February 2018 and 18th February 2019. The transfer of the sum of 261,268,585 naira from the Anambra State Security Vote account to an account that has no link to the state government between 9th August 2017 and 7th March 2020, amongst others. The EFCC alleges that he committed the offences contrary to Section 15(2)(b) of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended in 2012 and punishable under Section 15(3) of the same Act. He pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to him. Mr. Obiano is currently on administrative bail granted by the EFCC, which includes providing 2 sureties who are directors in civil service, own landed property in Abuja, and also includes tendering his international passport. The trial judge, Justice Iyan Eko, adopted the administrative bail and added that he remains within the Federal Capital Territory while ordering that his travel documents be submitted to the court.
Additionally, since the court wasn't part of the previous bail conditions, we applied that the verification be done on the residential and business addresses of sureties. And like you know, bail is always a discretion of the court. While he was with us, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't flout any of those bail conditions. The important thing is that he should appear before the court for his trial, which is what the court emphasized.
The case has been adjourned to March 3rd to 7th for trial. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Away from the courts now, the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Mr. Charles Ebuebu, says the Commission is aware of the challenges limiting the implementation of the digital switchover project and is working out modalities to address the issue. Mr. Ebuebu stated this while addressing the delegation from the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria who paid him a courtesy visit. According to the NBC boss, the issue of 2.5% levy on the gross earnings of broadcast organizations and licensing fees will be reviewed.
The leadership of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, arrived the boardroom of the National Broadcasting Commission, the first visit of the association to the newly appointed Director General of the NBC, Mr. Charles Ebuebu. The conversation at the meeting touched on several issues affecting the broadcast industry in Nigeria.
I think that should be taken.
The association wants the Commission to review the digitization exercise as well as the 2.5% levy on gross earnings of NBC licensed broadcast organizations.
We were taking a look at the financial difficulties that our members are going through. There is nowhere tax is paid on gross earnings. That means all other deductions will not be considered until when that 2.5% is removed. There are statutory deductions like VAT and all what have you. So even if, but we don't see the need for this 2.5% VAT in any way. So even if the 2.5% will have its way, it should not be on gross, rather it should be on net.
The NBC boss did not make a commitment to the association's request. However, he is promising to review the license fees and states the efforts being put in place to implement the digital switchover.
It's apparent to all, even the least knowledgeable person on the DSO, there's a need for a review. The white paper is a procedure document, a policy document, but then it needs to be built into its commercials, there needs to be built into its SLAs, there needs to be built into its responsibilities, you know. So we're going to look at that. Now, concerning the 2.5 levy review, we would also look at that. It might not be a complete scrapping. It might not, using the same way you told it to me, but we will find something that works.
The two organizations resolved to collaborate to enhance professionalism in the industry. Victoria Longjon for Channels Television News.
And to some company news, in a move to increase top-of-mind awareness, Reckitt has unveiled Nollywood actress Inidimma Okogie as brand ambassador for Dettol Skincare Antibacterial Bar. Marketing Director, Reckitt Sub-Saharan Africa, Mr. Tanzim Rezwan, says the partnership with the actress will further position Dettol Skincare as the most preferred beauty soap that delivers 2 times moisturization with glycerine and argan oil for smoother and healthier skin.
It's a big day at the Reckitt head office as Nollywood star Inidimma Okogie arrives here and is received by officials of the company. She's then led to the boardroom for the official signing and unveiling as brand ambassador for the reformulated Dettol skincare with argan oil.
Okay. Business with you.
After putting pen to paper, the Nollywood actress speaks on becoming the face of the relaunched Dettol skincare.
I'm very excited. I feel like it's an honor to be associated with Dettol because it's a brand that focuses on hygiene, health, and skincare. And, you know, being the face and representing this brand is not just about, you know, endorsing a fantastic product, but we are also preaching and promoting self-care and hygiene.
For the marketing director and the category manager, Reckitt Sub-Saharan Africa, Mr. Tanzim Rezwan and Zara Adoki, the choice of the Nollywood actress resonates with the company's strategic partnerships.
We believe in impactful partnerships that mirror our brand values. Inidima Okuze is a talented actress in the Nigerian entertainment industry. She embodies the essence of Dettol skincare brand that we have. She is authentic, she is really committed to excellence, and she is also highly dedicated to a healthy lifestyle, which seamlessly align with Dettol footprint. And that's why we believe that she is the right person to represent our brand in Nigeria.
What we have done with Dettol is to take the protection that Dettol would give normally and then add the added benefits of moisturizations to that. So how we've done that is by doubling our glycerin dosage and also including the super ingredient argan oil. And what this does is a combined benefit of making sure that it delivers 2x moisturization on your skin.
Reckitt is a producer of hygiene, nutrition, and health products, such as the Dettol Skincare Antibacterial Bar, which is enriched with 2 times moisturizing with glycerin and argan oil, designed for a smoother and healthier skin.
We're talking about excellence now. It was a historic day at the Nigerian stock market. Will Ebong is on standby with this and more on Business News. Stay with us.
Thank you, Maokwe, and welcome to Business News. We begin with the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, believing that the Naira is currently undervalued. Dr. Cardoso was speaking virtually at the launch of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group Macroeconomic Outlook, where he shared regulators' optimistic projection for the country in 2024.
Foremost among the factors contributing to this positive outlook is the expectation of improved crude oil prices and production, highlighting the crucial role the oil industry is expected to play in driving economic growth. Inflationary pressures are expected to decline in 2024 due to the CBN's inflation targeting policy, which aims to rein in inflation to 21.4%. This will be aided by improved agricultural productivity and the easing of global supply chain pressures. We believe that the Naira is currently undervalued, and coupled with coordinated measures on the fiscal side, we will expedite genuine price discovery in the near term. We are implementing a comprehensive strategy to improve liquidity in our FX markets in the short, medium, and long term. Our focus is on addressing fundamental issues that have hindered the effective operation of our markets over the years.
Now, 4.19 billion naira, that's the amount generated as revenue by the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, from passengers, cargo, and other services in the first 9 months of 2023. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the figure shows an increase by 7% when compared to 3.9 billion naira generated for the same period in 2022. A breakdown showed that a total of 983 million naira was raked in as revenue in the first first quarter of 2023. In the second quarter of the figures climbed to 1.31 billion naira, while over 1.8 billion naira was recorded in the third quarter of last year, bringing the 9-month total to 4.19 billion naira. Now it's official, the stock market has breached a new frontier in its history as it gains almost the entire returns which it posted in the whole of 2023 within just 3 weeks of trading in January this year. At the close of midweek trading session, the all-share index broke past 100,000 points with year-to-date performance currently at 34.89%. And this is coming in the absence of foreign investors' participation, government approach in the markets, bank recapitalization, new corporate listings, and in John Mekwa has more details of this historic feat.
Thank you so much, Will. For the very first time in history, the NGX hit and crossed the 100,000 points, gained 3%. Yesterday was close to 3%. Today it hit 3%, and it crossed 100,000. 101,571.11. I think we should give a loud applause to the NGX for today. Market cap, look at it, 55.583 trillion naira. This is a lot of money. Yesterday we did about 1.5 trillion naira. Today we added 1.6 trillion naira and above. This market, it's just blazing on, So let's look at how this happened today. We see banking, unfortunately, is still on the downside. Profit taking still down. The big guys are still being hit. Consumer goods, however, is on the flip side. Boa Foods, again, consecutive. It gained 5.59%. Flour meal, 8.95%. Consumer goods, more than 4% at the close of trade. Oil and gas are very marginal today. They're not the star, but Eternal Oil drove this at the close of trade. Suits are still doing their thing. That's where Boa Cement is, the only Nigerian company that has more than 10 trillion naira in market cap. And so we see it up there. So if Boa Cement sneezes now, the market catches a cold. Surplus is unchanged today, replaced by Eternal Oil. Dangote Cement is there. GTCO, MTN unchanged, and Zenith Bank managed. So we're still blazing the trail, counting our profits at the NGX. Would you jump on at this time? Well, I'm Ini John Mekwa, and the bull is the winner.
And that's a wrap on business news. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Will. Ukraine's military intelligence has accused Russia of deliberately putting the lives of the Ukrainian prisoners of war at risk in an ill-fated plane crash. Now, according to Russia's Ministry of Defense, the Ukrainian POWs, or prisoners of war, were being flown into Belgrade for a prisoner exchange. Here's Simon Husey with more on this and other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A Russian military transport plane has crashed in the southern Belgorod region bordering Ukraine, with officials saying everyone on board had died. Russia's Ministry of Defense said 65 captured Ukrainian military were on the plane ahead of a prisoner exchange. Video showed a plane going down, followed by an explosion and a fireball near the village of Yablonovo. According to officials, another 9 people were on the plane, including 6 crew. Ukraine's general staff said the plane was transporting missiles for Russia's S-300 air defense systems and made no mention of prisoners of war. None of the details surrounding those on board can be independently verified. Republican presidential hopeful Nikki Haley has vowed to press on with her campaign in the wake of a second consecutive loss to Donald Trump. Ms. Haley campaigned across New Hampshire ahead of Tuesday's primary, courting both independent and moderate Republican voters, but she was unable to catch Mr. Trump, who had a comfortable 11-point lead with most ballots counted. He now appears set to clinch the Republican nomination.
This is a great, great state. You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now, three. We win it every time. We win the primary, we win the generals, we've won it, and it's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. Like a speech like she won. She didn't win, she lost. And you know, last week we had a little bit of a problem, and if you remember, Ron was very upset because she ran up and she pretended she won Iowa.
The Israeli military says its ground forces have encircled Khan Yunis, the southern Gaza Strip's largest city. Troops have also reportedly advanced deeper into remaining parts of the city where they believe Hamas leaders are hiding in tunnels with hostages. It comes as footage has emerged of an unarmed Palestinian man in Gaza holding up a white flag before being shot and killed by the IDF. Ramzi Abu Salul was shot dead shortly after being interviewed by a British journalist. His widow is then filmed running towards her husband's body. In response, the IDF said it categorically denies any existence of field executions. At least 39 people are reported to have been killed after a fire broke out in a shop in the central Chinese province of Jiangxi. According to media reports, the fire started on Wednesday afternoon local time in the basement of a building in the city of Xinyu. Dozens of emergency service workers have been sent to the scene and rescue efforts are underway. A number of other people are said to have been injured. Meanwhile, 6 people have died, including 3 firefighters, after a truck carrying 60 tons of liquefied natural gas crashed and exploded in the Mongolian capital. Hundreds of firefighters had been sent to battle the blaze following the collision with a car in Ulaanbaatar on Wednesday morning. At least 11 people were injured, with the fire spreading to nearby buildings. One local resident described how he initially thought a plane had crashed. Turkish MPs have ratified Sweden's bid to join NATO in a long-delayed vote that represents a big step forward on the Nordic nation's path to membership. Sweden applied to join in 2022 after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, but Turkey withheld approval amid a row over what it called Sweden's support of Kurdish separatists. Turkish President Erdogan is expected to sign the legislation within days. It leaves Hungary the sole NATO member yet to ratify Sweden's accession. And despite Barbie being nominated for 8 awards at this year's Oscars, 2 of the blockbuster's biggest female stars have missed out. Greta Gerwig missed out on Best Director, while Margot Robbie was shut out of Best Actress. The film picked up nominations for its soundtrack, costumes, screenplay and production design, while there were acting nods for America Ferrera and Ryan Gosling. As a result, many film fans were quick to make the obvious points, the Academy recognising Gosling but not Robbie. Ironic for a film about feminism. History, though, offers some clues, with the Academy tending to go for serious performances over comedic, something that has often been noted by leading comedy figures and arguably putting Robbie at a disadvantage. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon. Sports is now. Let's begin with updates from the Africa Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles defender Bright Osayi Samuel believes the team have a good chance of beating the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon on Saturday in the round of 16. Nigeria and Cameroon have clashed 7 times at Continental Showpiece, with each team winning thrice and 1 draw. And Tunisia have been eliminated from the Nations Cup following a goalless draw against South Africa in Group E. The North Africans had a late chance to snatch victory, but substitute Haytham Ajoni headed a pass well over the crossbar. And Tunisia became the second top 10 ranked nation after Algeria to be eliminated at the group stage. And more of this now. Algeria have also sacked their coach, Djamel Belmadi, after the 2-time winners crashed out of the tournament. Belmadi's tenure ended prematurely after Tuesday's shock loss to Mauritania in their final group game. And that's Sports News Tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. There was another outrage today after gunmen unleashed terror on another Plateau local government area where they killed over 30 people. This happened barely a month after the Christmas Eve attacks on communities in 2 councils of the state, which claimed over 80 lives. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken inaugurated the American Corner at Lekki, Lagos, just as he spoke on U.S. Nigeria relations in a chat with the Chairman CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bayo Tunde Balogun. Do have a good night and please stay safe.